Saludos and salutations, Broncos country, and welcome back into another exciting episode of Broncos Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, that's probably the most excitement you're going to get out of me today because it was a hell of a roller coaster ride this past Sunday. All the good, all the bad, we're going to get to the bottom of every little thing that happened during the game, the aftermath, what's to be expected, and we're definitely going to look forward to the next upcoming game against those pesky Los Angeles Chargers. Also, Libre and I will be heading into some overtime and going over our picks for the week. Who's in the lead? Is it the chat? Is it Libre? Is it yours truly? We don't know. So make sure you're sitting down, your food is warm, your beer is cold, because you do not want to miss a single minute of today's episode, I should say. And unfortunately, I can't hit the tagline because we didn't win. So unfortunately, you'll have to tune in next week to see if we say those very, very famous words. But until then, and welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adan Diaz, and joining me to my left or right, depending on which way you're watching, is my co-host, the Bronco Libre. You're muted, Libre.
What's happening, Broncos country? All I can say, I'm disgusted, but we're on to play another game, like how in the movie Waterboy, we live to play another game. Let's go.
Just to let you know, your audio sounds a little far away, like you're far away from your mic, so I could barely hear you.
Let me fix that.
Yeah. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, that's probably the most excitement you're going to get out of me today in terms of what it is and what it was and what it could be. But I don't make any promises. You know, the good thing is I have Libre here with me, and Libre is the more cheerful one out of the both of us, I should say. Because, I mean, you know, that was happening. You can't do that without any energy. I don't care who you talk to.
How's this?
Much better.
So let me repeat it then. Since you barely heard me, that means everyone else barely heard me as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening? Let's go.
Yeah. Well, Libre, the good thing about this past weekend was I got to meet up once again with the Johnny Baki. And if you follow either one of us or the network on Twitter, you got to see me and Jay the Dream Weaver, and his wife was also there. And we just had a grand old time just catching up. The funny thing is that we had trouble finding each other. It took us like almost a half hour because when I moved, Johnny moved, and then Johnny called me and he's like, well, I'm over here. Well, I'm on the other side of the stadium. Well, I'm over here. I had to literally sit still and wait for Johnny to come to me. That's how much we were moving around.
My thing is, I can understand you not finding Johnny because he is short and you can't find him with a sea of people. But to be able to identify you, like he should be able to pick you out of a haystack, a needle in a haystack, because you just come out with a sore thumb, like how tall you are. Just saying.
Well, the funny thing is that when I was standing there, I saw Johnny walk by, but the only thing I saw were his horns.
The horns?
His horns and his cape. And then I saw Jay not too far behind him. So I just stood up and I waited there and I waited for Johnny to come back and turn around. And then he finally saw me. And the first thing he said to me was, I got to go to the bathroom, but as soon as I get back, I'll be right there. And he said it in front of a crowd of people. And
That is hilarious.
Hilarious, man.
That's so funny.
But ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the show. This is Broncos Talk. If this is your first time here, welcome in. If not, welcome back. Before we get started, we got a couple of things we got to get out of the way, just like we do at the start of every single show here. First of all, we'd like to ask you to please show your support for us here on the Orange and Blue Network. If you can subscribe, share, comment, and like on this and all of the shows that we have here on the network. If you're all caught up on Broncos Talk, no problem. We have so many other shows, which I will get to in just a second. What you can expect here once you're subscribed to this wonderful, wonderful group of people. We have 24/7 coverage damn near of all things orange and blue. We've got you covered. So your support is greatly appreciated. For those listening to us after the fact, if you're listening to us on audio even, you're definitely still welcome to 5-star reviews are very well appreciated, regardless of what platform you're listening to us to. And if you want, you can screenshot that review, send it to our socials, to Libre and myself. They're right there at the bottom. Our Twitter handles. Mine is at a 6'10" Mexican. Bronco Libre is at Bronco Libre 5280. For any business inquiries, you can email at broncostalk2020@gmail.com. Also, we would like to say thanks to the sponsor of today's show, which is Dubby. If you use the code OBN10, you'll get 10% off your order at checkout. Again, that code is OBN10 to get your 10% off your order at checkout. So for those that don't know, Dubby is basically formulated with nothing but amino acids, B vitamins, and nootropics, including their patented Neurofactor formula. It's the nootropic and the caffeine, which is derived directly from the coffee fruit. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, it's all the good stuff without all the bad. It's got no sugar, it's got no calories, it's got no maltodextrin, no fillers, and no artificial colors. And again, let me reiterate, if you use the code OBN10, you'll get 10% off your order at checkout. Shout out to Dubby and all the guys over at the Nothing to Rise With for hooking you, me, and Libre up with this amazing discounted offer. And then, of course, we have the show schedule here for you guys. All the times that I'm going to read are all in Mountain Time. Please keep that in mind. We have the Orange and Blue Blitz, which goes live every single Monday, Wednesday, or Friday at 11 a.m. We have the Broncos Bros because, hey, do you even Bronco, bro?
Do you Broncos, bro?
7.
Let's go.
I Bronco, bro. Every single Monday, I Bronco, bro. We have the Nothing Rhymes With, which is the flagship show, which is every Tuesday at 6 p.m. We have the Mahai Symposium, which just got done airing not too long after we do on Wednesdays. Of course, Broncos Talk, which you're watching right now at 6. And we have Viva Los Broncos, the only all Spanish-led podcast here on the network. And I don't want to say everywhere because there are a couple of other programs, but Viva Los Broncos is the place to be for your Spanish-speaking Broncos news. So make sure you join Fridays at 6 and let your friends know. For any breaking news that happens around Broncos country, we have the Fresh Squeeze that goes right on the air to bring you guys all the notes and what's going on and what it is that the news is. Also, we have the pregame show, which is the Get Buck pregame show, which airs every single game day 1 hour before kickoff. And then we have the Buck Your Feelings postgame show, which airs every game day right after the game. And Johnny is working on letting us swear just a little bit more when the Broncos don't win. Libre, you're muted again.
I was talking to TikTok, so it's okay. Yeah. But you know what? And we're not going to have many shows that we're going to be cursing this year. This is just the first one of not that many. So we're going to be okay.
I mean, I just listen, I was at the game. Okay. And well, first of all, let's get to some comments. Dr. Nicholas Manning saying, "What's up, boys?
What's happening?"
Fanatic Dak, one of half of the Broncos bros, the man that Bronco bros every day because, bro, do you even
Broncos?
He's like, "What's happening?
Vatos locos forever."
Yes, sir. We have Juan Marquez, your cousin, Libre, saying, "Yo, what up, guys? Tough loss, but we have a huge opportunity looking right at us in the face with a huge divisional game." Shy Vargas saying, "I'm so upset with this Broncos defense." It's like he read my mind. Swear all you want. At this point, I don't care. LOL. You know, the
So we
crazy
just
thing
got
is that
the
Johnny doesn't
approval.
really care.
No.
But I'm pretty sure, even though I was up in the nosebleeds and Johnny had like really kick-ass seats, like I could hear Johnny swinging his cane around and probably wanting to hit a ref with it. But to be honest with you guys, and Libre and I were talking about this just before we went on the air. The one thing that really got upset to me, it's the one thing that every single person since Sunday that saw that game that doesn't rock the well, this isn't orange, but doesn't rock the orange and blue said the exact same thing. What happened to that vaunted Denver defense? And that's exactly what I was thinking as I was driving back home to Indianapolis. What happened to cell block D? This was supposed to be the defense that was supposed to be better than what was on the field last year. This was supposed to be the defense that was supposed to make an example out of the Titans game last 2 weeks ago, I guess you could say. This was supposed to be the same defense that was supposed to make an example out of Daniel Jones. And if anything, I feel like the Broncos themselves got exposed. Because when you have an offensive line like Indy does, and credit to Indianapolis because their offensive line was a whole lot better than I gave them credit for. They only allowed 1 sack during the entire game of Daniel Jones, and that was when literally the entire house came. It was the only way they could overwhelm that defense. But unfortunately, Jonathan Cooper and Nick Bonito and all those other guys, if you watch the highlights, they were literally 0.5 seconds away from getting to Daniel Jones. Almost all those throws that Daniel Jones made, he got hit right after the throw. And our linebacker core was probably even worse because unfortunately, it made me eat crow because I was one of the people, Libre, that came on here and I defended Alex Singleton, him still being on the team, him not being a liability, people worried about him coming back from an injury and not being able to be the player that he once was in terms of being a great linebacker, and losing a guy like Cody Barton. And then we also had Justin Sternad on the opposite side. And literally what I told not Libre, what I told Baki when we were outside chatting it up was that I was really worried about Dre Greenlaw not playing in this game. And unfortunately, my worries came to fruition. And that entire game, Libre, the Broncos, that middle part, Tyler Warren, even though Tyler Warren didn't score a touchdown, but he was there like he had real estate. And the linebackers were unable to get and make the necessary hits. The Broncos were not able to get the Colts to punt the ball. Every drive that the Colts had, they damn near went for points every time, whether it was a field goal or they ran it in or they were just chewing up clock, Libre. So to me, our linebacker core got seriously exposed. And if something isn't done to fix it, especially if Dre Greenlaw is not a go for this Sunday, the Broncos are in really, really big trouble.
I agree with you 100%, but I also turn that around as a positive that we saw from this game is we saw a running game. That's something that was a positive. Looking at our offensive line did not give up a sack this game. So that's a positive right there. But then going back to like how you're talking about Tyler Warren, their coaching staff did such a good job. And this is all about situational football itself and understanding your matchups. Let me just tell you, the matchups that they did against us were perfect because you could see that what they were able to do offensively to us on their offense against our defense is that they matched up a better player that they had against maybe a weaker player on our end. Yeah, it also didn't hurt that PS2 looked like he rolled his ankle or did something where it slowed him down a little bit, but then he got picked on right after that. Like they understood the matchups that they had and they took advantage of it and they took it well. And with Jonathan Taylor as well, like I kept on saying, like I was on live. If you saw me on my live on TikTok on Sunday, I said, yeah, I have Jonathan Taylor on my roster right now playing. I'd rather lose my fantasy game so that the Broncos can win. But, you know, you still have to put him in there because he's one of those great running backs. But they took advantage of the matchups that they had. And yes, they did expose us. But I also feel like it wasn't a time where PS2 got hurt. He was out for a little bit, and then he came back in. And that's part of the game. You have to understand what's out there, your situational setup, and if you can take advantage of it, why not do it? And that's exactly what they did, and that's why they were able to take away the game from us. Like, we did everything right as much as we could, except for a couple spots there where we shouldn't have been in the position that we were at as well. So if we can get those corrected, we're going to be just fine.
Although I will say, and Libre, I told you this just a little while ago, that as heartbreaking as it is for the Broncos to have lost by a field goal and by a point, they should not have been in that position in the first place.
Correct.
Will Lutz, I know a lot of people were calling for Will Lutz's head after the game. I could tell you, as somebody who was stuck in a staircase having to slowly file out of the stadium because apparently Lucas Oil doesn't have like those long ramps like Denver and some other stadiums do. Everybody has to file out through a staircase, and it's literally step by step. I heard people cursing out Will Lutz's name. And I get it, because the doink of doom reared in its ugly head, and it sucks because you expect a guy like Lutz, who's a veteran kicker, mind you, he's not a novice or anything of that regard, to make those types of kicks and make those. So that way the pressure would have been put on the defense to keep the Colts from scoring. They can march and chew up clock if they wanted to, but as long as they kept them out of the end zone with a 5-point lead, that would have given the Broncos a whole lot better chance in terms of winning that game. Also, Bo Nix playing a fantastic first half. And I swear, like, I feel like we say this every week, Libre, and then we come in the second half and it totally stalls out. This is something else that the Broncos need to clear up. It cannot just be a first half game. It has to be gas to the floor, gas pedal to the floor, kick ass all the way until the buzzer sounds. Basically what the Lions did to the Bears. Think of it like that. They did not hold back. And their whole reason for doing that is different, but they did not give the Bears a chance to get back into that game. And that's exactly what the Broncos were supposed to do, especially the offense. The first half offense, Libre, they looked unstoppable. They were matching all damn near point to point with Indianapolis. Yes, they did make a couple of mistakes here and there, but they, or Bo Nix, I should say, put the ball where it wanted to be. And on that interception that he threw, from where I was sitting, it looked like he was expecting Courtland Sutton to kind of either Nix threw the ball through a little too early, or Courtland Sutton didn't run the right route, and unfortunately the safety was able to get to the ball and pick it off. So that was a momentum breaker in itself. It changed the game entirely because the Colts went marching down the field and got even closer to winning that game by at least getting a field goal. So this definitely needs to be addressed. And the only other complaint I have about the offense is no Evan Ingram. We were so hyped up for him. You know, he was the Joker. We saw what he did in the preseason. And in this game, I felt like he wasn't even there. Same thing with Courtland Sutton. Kudos to Troy Franklin and J.K. Dobbins and even Adam Troutman for getting touchdowns and putting points on the board. I don't have an issue with that. But I felt like Courtland Sutton was almost not even there, especially with Indianapolis having backup cornerbacks at that. And whatever this offense was that was supposed to work with Evan Ingram or rotate around him or use him to his strengths, we did not see that. So going forward, especially in a big game and the first divisional game for the Broncos this season, you need to include those weapons. You need to put those guys out there, and you need to make their defense choose who are they going to get, who are they going to block, who are they going to double team, who's going to be the biggest threat. And if it's Courtland Sutton, then you have 3 more other weapons that you can throw the ball to. 4 if you use the running back to scramble. I don't know. I'm not an offensive coordinator, but Libre, something needs to be done because the Broncos cannot keep having these heartbreak moments go any further.
No, I agree with you. And again, you were there at the game, and I know it's hard to see everything that's happened, but I don't know if you rewatched the game at all or see any of the highlights, but the passion that Bo Nix has, and this is the kind of quarterback that you want. But did you see when he was arguing there with Sean Payton on the sideline once he came off because he was frustrated there in the second half, where he's just so passionate about this game that he's trying to tell him certain things. But again, like you were mentioning about the tales of two halves, like it is, and I think it's Sean Payton that also has to adjust as well. And I don't feel like he's adjusting. Yes, I remember when we had Shanahan here, and he had the first 10 or to 15 plays scripted, saying doesn't matter what's happening. These are what we're going to be doing these plays, and then you adjust to whatever the defense is giving you. And I feel that Sean Payton does this as well, but he still has to make adjustments as well. And I don't think he was making those adjustments there in the second half enough. And yes, we need to get Evan Ingram in there. I think he only had 3 targets with 1 reception or something like that, which is ridiculous. Like you were saying, he's the quote unquote joker of the offseason who we need him to be there for us. And let me tell you, Troutman is not our guy there. Like, even though he had a lot of targets and all that, we need to get Evan Ingram out there and playing and so forth. I don't know if they were just scared because of having him out there because of I think an ankle injury or something like that, that he had that sprain. I think they're just trying to be conservative, but let him eat, let him go out there. You brought him in for a reason and get him out there. And I feel like we just need to incorporate him a little bit more. And again, with Shadarius out, like, how could you not go to Cortland Sutton? Like, that's one thing that still baffles me as well. Like, I love the Oregon connection, like Fanatic Dak, ducks fly together, that was great to see. I love seeing that. I just hated it because I had Troy Franklin on my bench and he scored 24 points on my bench. So it's like, it's so hard to, determine what to put him in there. And it's like, again, yes, I don't want to be a Broncos homer and just rely on all of them, but that's going to be a connection I feel that is going to be there week in and week out. And it could be a phase of getting Cortland to be number 2. Like, I don't know, but they need to get him more targets. He's your number 1 right now. Show it that he's the number 1. Get him in there. He's good. He's a playmaker. He's proven it already over throughout his career. That's why he got paid by us. Now let's get in there and let's let these guys eat, because this is what they're going to do. And I needed Sean Payton not to be so conservative with some of these plays and just get out there and just throw it out. I'd rather have you be super aggressive and then we lose the game. But knowing that you're out there trying to get this done and you're trying to do that, being super aggressive, I appreciate that more than being so conservative and whatnot. But again, like I mentioned earlier, I love the run game, and the run game is going to open up the pass game, because then you have these defenses guessing on what you're going to do, and that's what we need to do. And I feel like we can do this in LA this weekend. And you have to look at Khalil Mack. He's out. He had got a dislocated elbow on Monday night.
I think it's time we have a serious talk about the linebackers. I know I probably said that earlier, but I felt like I drifted away from that topic in my little rant. Somebody in the chat just mentioned Greenlaw needs to get traded. No, they're not going to trade him.
No.
And even if you wanted to, who's going to want to trade in for a linebacker that has not seen the field yet? It doesn't make any sense. So that's not even an option. But I will say, though, Dre not being able to have played in 2 games so far is worrisome, because all through the offseason, yes, we heard about a couple lingering injuries and all that, but it was not promised, but it was stated that they would not be serious where it would affect him at the start of the season. Like, at the most, he was just going to miss the preseason, and that would be it. So my only concern with that is if he misses another game, which is this one, and the Broncos, or not this one, this upcoming one, and the Broncos lose, and the Broncos gallop or limp or whatever you want to say into week 4, then people are going to start questioning whether the acquisition of Dre Greenlaw was fool's gold. And this isn't about Hufanga. Hufanga was a home run. And that man, when I tell you I saw him flying all over the field, it's not just it's not TV magic. That man is worth every single penny. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I don't have a problem with Hufanga. Hufanga's doing the best that he can, and it's not his fault that the linebackers aren't holding up. And it shouldn't be where he has to come in flying every single freaking play and, waste more of his energy because the linebackers can't tackle or they can't cover or they can't do what they're supposed to do. That's not his fault. So we need to see Greenlaw hit the turf sooner than later, because what we saw from Singleton and Sternad, they looked more like backups out there than starters. They honestly did. Your cousin mentioned, JT, that long run he killed us.
Yeah,
he really did. And it was a miracle that JT didn't put up 3 touchdowns on the Broncos himself just from that running play. Tyler Warren, my hat off to him, man. That kid caught almost every pass thrown his way that wasn't overthrown, and he punished our linebacker core. And I will say, it is really worrisome when we see that our front line, not even Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper, Bonito, Jones, when none of those guys can get home in time, and you see how much time Daniel Jones had in the pocket, he could have literally thrown it to the stands if he wanted to. He had that much time. And that is totally not acceptable, especially for, again, what the Broncos were known for last year, where they had the most sacks out of any team last year. And they went into that game and they were barely able to muster 1. So I get it. Indy's offensive line was a whole lot better than I thought. I give him credit for. But Vance Joseph, that's where he needed to have come up with a different way, a better way. If his guys can't single-handedly get to the quarterback, it was up to him to find a play call, to do something to make Daniel Jones uncomfortable in the pocket. And unfortunately, we did not see that. And it's just so frustrating, Libre, because even if the offense was getting off to a sluggish start, we were supposed to be able to depend on the defense to say, hey, just like they did week 1. Week 1, the defense was out there and they bent, but they didn't break. They didn't allow a single touchdown. They just allowed field goals. But again, this is going to be one of those seasons where both sides of the ball need to find a common ground, where it just cannot keep being one over the other. If you're playing a really tough opponent, that's a different story. But this one, Daniel Jones, 2 backup cornerbacks, and the fact that the Broncos had all the momentum going into that game and they just completely lost it, it speaks volumes. And it's really hitting close to home in terms of what I can't even find the words, Libre. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you as well. But I feel like with these inside linebackers, like I was just mentioning earlier, they just found a way to make matchups. And Tyler Warren was a huge factor in that. And they understood what needed to happen. So I figured that was what they needed for them to succeed in this game, coming into it, knowing that they were shorthanded, especially on the defensive side, having to step up on, and like they did, they stepped on both sides of the line where the Tyler Warren was able to take advantage of all of that. And yes, and I feel like what Alex Singleton, it looked like he got hurt again as well, like something looked like his knee. So just that little bit itself, like they slowed him down. And again, that's what slowed down PS2 as well. And that's why they kept on picking on PS2. That's why he gave up big plays throughout this game, is because they had him slow down just enough where they could take advantage of it. And they did it, and they executed. And that's the thing is we didn't do on our end, where we had the opportunities to execute, get those, get off of the third downs, get there so we don't have to punt and whatnot. So that's one thing that this defense has to come in to this week. Hopefully they've already been working on it and getting it together and understanding that, okay, we have the Chargers now. What do we need to do to stop Omarion Hampton, to stop Herbert and so forth. So we need to go in there and take care of business. With Ladd McConkey. Like I have Ladd McConkey on my fantasy team. He's like on 3 out of my 4 fantasy teams right now, and it's because he produces points, and PS2 is going to have to be all over him and cover him well. I did see in today's injury report that PS2 was limited in practice today. And again, I think it's just cautionary because he did sprain his ankle or whatnot. But it's going to be there. I feel like we'll be able to recover. Just that they just need to step up and make big plays. And I have faith that they can do it. And I know that they are capable and willing to do it. I know they're capable and they're going to do it. Just prove it to us now.
I got to tell you, I've seen Omari and Hampton play these last 2 games, and I have not seen anything that would make me think that the Broncos should be worried. I'd be more worried about Najee Harris, if I'm being honest with you, than Hampton, especially that really ugly fumble he had where it was almost like they were trying to keep the Raiders in the game, but the Chargers just got lucky that the Raiders couldn't get out of their own way in terms of being a good football team. And I'd like to say that I pat myself on the back because I said exactly that Geno Smith is not the guy, and
no.
Pete Carroll on that team makes absolutely no sense.
What's funny is like one of my coworkers, he's a huge Raiders fan, and right after that game, he actually sent me a text message with this face that Geno Smith had and a face that Derek Carr had. I'll send it to you after the show. And the caption says, "Who wore this face better?" And it's just them like having this long face, like just mad and so forth. But it is hilarious. And he said, coming from a Raiders fan, he's just making fun of his team now that, and it's just hilarious. He's like, all right, who wore this face better?
Yeah, and I saw 2 different videos that were talking about the same point. Not to get too far off topic here, folks, but unfortunately, that's what we do. We like to kind of deviate away from what we're supposed to talk about, but eventually we circle back. But I will say quickly that I saw 2 videos today where 2 different people on analyzing the Raiders made the exact same comparison, that the Raiders getting a guy like Ashton Genty when they don't have an offensive line for a guy like Genty to use properly was a waste of a pick. And I remember when they drafted him and I thought, well, maybe if the Raiders offensive line isn't as good as advertised, maybe Genty can still find a way to get in between the tackles or, be the next Saquon Barkley, I guess you could say, as some people were comparing him to, him coming out of college and being a big pick in the first round. And it turns out that it hasn't. Like, yeah, he had a touchdown against the Patriots 2 weeks ago, which was nice. But this past week, if it wasn't for the fact that Khalil Mack got hurt, he probably would have had less yards than what he ended up with. And he never even saw the end zone this past week. And it sucks because I have him on my fantasy team. And it just goes to show you that how important those first round picks are, because they can literally make or break a team in terms of building for your future. And it only takes one brick to have that entire wall come crashing down. And then you have to start all over and start building that team brick by brick again. And the same thing with Omari and Hampton. Again, I don't think that he'll be as big, at least maybe not yet. It may take time for him to get his feet wet and, be an absolute force in the NFL. Same thing for Genty. But I'd be more worried about Najee Harris just for the simple fact that he's, he's more veteran-led, and he can probably get more yards out of the Broncos, especially the way our linebacker core is right now. But to D-Rock saying we got ourselves an RB1 now, which is J.K. Dobbins, and that's true.
We do,
and we do, and we saw a little bit more out of the running game this week, Libre, or this past week. And I just want to say that if they can continue to do that, that would make the offense run a whole lot better. If you want to switch it up with RJ Harvey, I'm okay with that. But we have to get this offense going. And you have to keep using the running backs. They're in rotation, so you don't have to keep using the exact same one. And again, as you and I mentioned earlier, Evan Ingram, we need to see him get on the field. We need to see what it is that he can do. Excuse me. What he can do, that he can stretch out the field, give guys like Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant, and I don't know if you can throw Troutman in there and Cortland Sutton, basically do what they did in the first quarter, Libre, but do it, or in the first half, but do it for both halves.
Yeah.
And not always have to rely on getting bailed out by the refs. Definitely not that. And not have to rely on field goal kicks, because when the field goal doesn't go in, it hurts, Libre. It really does, especially on the road, because we all know that it's a lot harder to win games on the road than it is to win games at home. And when you lose by one, and before I turn it over to you, I have a friend of mine who literally texted me as I was driving back home, and he said, and he's a Bears fan, so he had to sit and watch that massacre. And he said, I would much rather lose by 30 than lose by 1, because losing by 1 hurts more.
Well, yeah, it does, because you're in the game, So when you're in that game and when you lose by that 1 point, yeah, it hurts. Like, we were going crazy, like we were talking behind backstage. I was at Tom's Watch Bar here in downtown Denver, and everyone was going crazy. Everyone's super excited, jumping around in excitement. And then we're like, wait, there's a flag. What the heck's going on? Why is there a flag? Why is it 15-yard penalty? And then seeing the leverage that they called and so forth. You go back and look at it. Did he really get any type of leverage? He barely tapped him. And then he didn't push down on him to go up. He just tapped him, and then he tried jumping up and trying to block it. But if you go back and you look at when Lutz missed that field goal, and they were like the same way, almost like they were pushing down on the center. Like, that call itself is so subjective that it's ridiculous. And I feel that and then I was actually telling you as well, it's like a 15-yard penalty for that. Like, should it be a 15-yard penalty or should it be a 5-yard penalty? I think what will end up happening is, because I don't think it's just the only game that had that leverage call as well, that the NFL, the team owners might want to look into that as well. Some of the teams that benefited from it, like the Colts and the others, may not want to say, nope, we like it, it's just fine because we won the game because of it. But it's something that you have to look at. But that's part of the game. We have to get past it. We're on to the next one. We can't linger on it too much. Just what you need to do is you have that in the back of your mind. Now the next team that's coming up, you're just going to go smack them in the mouth. So, and revenge that loss. So make that next team pay for what happened to us this last weekend.
To answer your question, Shy, Joey Bosa plays for the Buffalo Bills. You'll see him tomorrow night against the Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
Yeah. Stay tuned for the Broncos Talk overtime part of the segment, where we will go over our picks for the week. But to me, Libre, I was up and celebrating when I saw from my point of view, the ball didn't even get anywhere near the upright. So I was already up and celebrating. I was high-fiving random Broncos fans behind me. Also, by the way, sidebar, shout out to Broncos Country. You guys showed the F out for us. I was not expecting that many orange jerseys, to be honest with you. And as me and my nephew were walking to the stadium from our car, and we just saw all the blue and the whites, and when we got to the stadium, it was so relieving to see orange jerseys all over the place. Your Elways, your Millers, your Suttons, your Demaryius Thomas, like names from all over Broncos country, and everybody friendly to each other. There was no big animosity. Yeah, there were a couple people talking smack, but that's just what you do before a big NFL game. You talk smack, especially if you're a rival, which we are not. But I did say to a lot of people on my way out, hey, you guys may have won the battle, but you haven't won the war yet. because these two teams will meet in the postseason, especially if the Colts keep riding this wave of luck. And I guarantee you that game will not end the same way as this one did. And he who laughs last laughs best. That's
You know what?
I like to live by.
Absolutely. But you know what I like about it? It's like how you're just talking about before the game. As long as it's healthy banter, that's what competitive football is. You want to have that banter. You want to do that. And especially since we were the visiting team, like we want to make sure that, hey, we're here. You're going to know that we're here. We're going to make some noise. Let's have some fun. But that's the best part of the game itself. And like I've been an advocate of it for the longest time. I'm a fan of fans. So let's continue to have that. I'm going to be actually at the Mile High Stadium on Sunday because they're going to be doing the Broncos and Espanol are doing a watch party. So if you're here in Denver, get your free tickets. They're on the Broncos social medias right now with the Broncos and Espanol. Just follow the link, get your free tickets, and then come and visit. It's going to be a fun time. They have lots of stuff already, a lot of activities. Cheerleaders are going to be there. Miles is going to be there. A lot of activities, food trucks that are going to be Latin-inspired food. So I'm super excited for that part of it. So please come and join me. I'll be there about 1 o'clock. That's when it kicks off. So let's do that. But then again, Monday night when we play against the Bengals, I'm going to have a tailgate. We're going to go out there, have some fun, and everyone's welcome. Bengals fans, anybody, like if you want to come out, come and hang out. Let's have some fun. Let's have a beer, but we're going to be talking some shit and all that up until game time. And then after the game, we're like, all right, the better team won and let's have another beer, you know? So that's what it's about. That's what I love about football, especially being fan of fans. Now let's go. Come on. Broncos country.
Well, I feel like for this upcoming game against the Chargers, getting the pass rush has to get home. Okay. Because we saw what happened last week against the Colts. If the pass rush doesn't get home in time, you do not want to give a guy like Justin Herbert time in the pocket because guys like Quentin Johnston, when he can actually catch the ball, will punish you. And Ladd McConkey last year was a big, big thorn on the Broncos side last year. So in order for the Broncos to win this game, they have to get home. The pass rush has to get home. And even if they can't get the sack, they have to make Justin Herbert make a quick decision, and hopefully it's the wrong one. Now, if Dre Greenlaw can clear injuries and make it to the game play, even if he's on a limited snap count, that's definitely a huge boost. Because especially with, I saw Justin Cernod's name on the injury report. So his chance of playing looks like it's in doubt. And unless the Broncos, I don't see them making any trades right now. It's still a little bit too early in terms of any big buster trades, you know, and maybe going into the waiver wire and picking up an inside linebacker, even just to have as a rotational piece. That probably seems like the more go-to option if Greenlaw is another scratch for this weekend. But the only positive that the Broncos have in terms of them going to this game is that Khalil Mack is out, and he's going to be out for a while. So they don't have to worry about that side of the pass rush. And Joey Bosa is no longer with the Chargers, as I mentioned. He went to Buffalo. So the offensive line should catch a bit of a break, and they should be able to buy Bo Nix some more time in the pocket to make throws and completed catches at that and put some points on the board for the team. But this is something that cannot be taken lightly because the Chargers are 2-0 against us currently. So the Broncos have to break the tie, and they have to get back into the positive win column. And it starts this weekend at Empire. At Empower. So, but the Chargers defense, again, Derwin James, even without Khalil Mack, that guy's a really good safety, and he's a ball hawk. So he'll definitely be out there. He'll be trying to make Bo Nix uncomfortable. From the opposite side of the ball, again, Quinton Johnston will probably be followed around by, if not PS2, maybe Riley Moss or Jahdae Barron. I think that the bigger challenge would be against Patrick Surtain, and that would leave McConkey with Jahdae Barron. And that's an interesting matchup because I don't know which one of our two cornerbacks between Barron and Riley Moss could keep up with a guy like McConkey, because McConkey likes to kind of run in between the slats and in the numbers. So it's it'll be interesting to see who can keep up and par with him and try to keep him limited. But again, I really do hope, like you said, that the Broncos fix their inner linebacker problem issue, whatever it is, because we cannot have mistakes like that again happen. We cannot have the opposing offense march down the field and them settling for 3 points every single drive and make the Broncos offense job that much harder.
No, I agree. Like, they need to step up, like how I was talking earlier. And if they can, and I know they're able to do it, because they're those guys. They can do that. So it's just a matter of going out there and producing. And I feel like they're going to be able to do that this weekend.
And yeah, your cousin's right. J.K. Dobbins returns to play his former team. But correct me if I'm wrong, is the game in Los Angeles or is it in Denver this Sunday?
No, it's in LA.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought that was
I think a lot of people are thinking that it is here in Denver is because the Broncos and Españoles have that watch party at the stadium.
Oh, okay.
Because I have a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're going to the game?" Blah blah blah. I go, "No, it's a watch party at the stadium. It's just not the games in LA." But yeah,
right. Well, I'm gonna reach out to my friend Lindsay Bebo because I'm pretty sure she's gonna be at that game. She goes every year, so I'm gonna see if maybe we can have her on the show next week.
Next week, yeah.
And give us a kind of feel around. One of the things that I want to do one day is to go to every single NFL stadium. And so far I've been to like 4 or 5. I have to check my list. But SoFi is definitely on my places to go. I've heard a lot of people have told me not to go to SoFi because LA is very expensive, even if you're just visiting. So...
But let me tell you one thing, though, because I have my buddy. He's in Bronco Tiz, who we had on last week. Mm-hmm. He's currently in LA. If he didn't travel back today, because I was talking to him yesterday, but he was thinking about staying there until the weekend for the game. And he said that for the Charger Bronco game, it's pretty cheap. It's like he was like saying that it was like $50 to get a ticket into the game. So everything else, maybe around LA, is super expensive, which it is because it's just California itself. But for the game itself, it's super cheap to get in.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe not this year, but maybe next year. I'm going to see, and I'm going to ask Lindsay if she can be my tour guide, kind of show me around the sites.
Heck yeah.
And, because it's kind of crazy. And again, I don't know if it counts, but I stood outside of MetLife. I didn't go inside MetLife Stadium, but I stood outside of it. So I don't know if that counts in terms of going to. But I think MetLife's going to be my last stadium to go visit, Libre, just for the simple fact that I'm not ready to walk in there and not burst into tears.
But just remember, like, the people that were there for that Super Bowl, when they were leaving that next day, a blizzard hit, which is nuts. It's just not only to damper our Super Bowl in there, but like it literally dumped like blizzard like conditions where people were stuck there for several days before even being able to go home. And Bronco Tiz was actually one of the guys that was there for that Super Bowl and wasn't able to get home until like a day or two later.
Yeah, I think my friend Glenn Hauser, I think he was there too because he lives on the East Coast. So I don't think he was too far from there. And I think he was at that game. I'm going to see if I can reach out to him. And I'm pretty sure he told me that story, but I forgot how it went because it was so long ago. But the important thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that the Broncos go in there and take away the momentum away from the Chargers. Now, the only victory that I actually agree with the Chargers having is the one over Kansas City, because I think we can all agree that nobody likes Kansas City. We don't like the Chargers and we don't like the Raiders, but we definitely do not like the Chiefs. And the fact that the Chiefs are currently 0-2 makes my heart happy.
Everyone's heart. All of Broncos country, all of the NFL, they don't want to see the Chiefs succeed anymore. Only if you're part of Chiefs Kingdom, those are the only people that really care about what's happening. But now that they're 0-2, everyone in the whole NFL is happy.
Definitely everybody's happy. But again, the Broncos offense has to go into this game and they have to go pedal to the floor. They cannot leave anything up they cannot take any part of that Chargers team for granted. Again, I ate crow last year when I said that Harbaugh was going to be not going to be enough to turn that team around. And I was wrong, definitely wrong. And they're definitely looking. If the Broncos cannot win on Sunday, there's a good chance that the Chargers could run away with the division. Unfortunately, I know you guys don't want to hear that. We're all orange and blue here. I know, but we have to stay within the realm of reality. And that's why it's really important that the Broncos win this game, because they've already gotten past 2 of the 3 teams that they need to. And if they get past Denver, then they'll have all the advantages going into before the second half or the second part of those games happen later on this season. So it's very crucial and important for Denver to take advantage. Now, the Chargers are already beat up. They don't have one of their best offensive linemen. They don't have one of their best pass rushers. So these are 2 things that the Broncos can definitely take advantage of. And I say that with all honesty, because they had that advantage last week and they didn't do anything with it. Enough. Let me just say enough. So, and Sean Payton called a pretty good game, Libre, that first half. But that second half, there were a lot of plays that kind of like, there were some head scratchers, like, what are you doing? I will say that pass to Courtland Sutton, it could have just been the Broncos just chewing up clock, but then again, we don't know if Will Lutz would have hit that field goal if that was an incomplete pass, So it was just Sean Payton rolling the dice, and unfortunately it didn't roll his way.
No, I agree with that. But going back to like with the Chargers, and is it week 3? This is a rhetorical question. Isn't week 3, like for the Broncos right now, a must-win game? Just like how you said it. Yes, it is. It actually is a must-win, because it being a divisional game first and foremost, you need to take advantage of these games early in the season, because later on, when it comes to tiebreakers and all that, this game matters. So yes, this is a must-win game for the Broncos in order for that. For them to be in somewhat of control of the rest of the season. If not, just like how you said, the Chargers will have total control of this division because they have 2 wins over some of the divisional part itself. So yes, they need to go out there and win. Now going to Sean Payton, that's why, like there in the second half, Bo Nix was in his face. Like he's like, come on, like he sees the stuff that's happening out on the field that Sean Payton isn't. So like you have to listen to your players as well, and not just be that coach saying, well, we're doing it my way or it's the highway. So we just need to, hopefully they hashed it out. They're good to go. And we're ready on, and they're putting in this game plan now for the Chargers so that we were able to dominate. And just how we saw it last year. He got into his face last year. It's because Bo Nix is passionate about what he does. And that's what I love about him. How can you not say that you can't be behind him because of that? So I'm super excited for this upcoming week to see how they rebound. It's going to be a good test for this team to see where we're at. And if we can rebound, like the sky's the limit for this team. Like this is the true test right now. We've got this adversity right now during this last week itself, and now we're going into this week, and it's like I mentioned, it's a must-win game. And go ahead.
I was just gonna say the Broncos have only had 1 forced turnover so far. They've gotten turnover on downs from Indy, but that's just because Indy got greedy, and when they went
Yeah.
4 down 4, they couldn't convert, which is a different type of turnout, in my opinion. But we need to see Cell Block D stand up. They need to get an interception. They need to force fumbles. They need to get the ball back to the offense and say, hey, we did our job. You need to go out and do yours. Because week 1, the offense was not there, and they asked way too much of the defense. And this past week, when I thought the defense would have to go out and work a little bit harder, I always expect the Broncos defense to work harder on road games than I expect them to work at home, and vice versa. I expect the offense to work harder at home games than I expect them to work on the road. So the thing to me is, what is it going to take to finally get either one of those things going? You know what I'm saying? So again, whatever mistakes that the Chargers commit, the Broncos have to take advantage of. And D-Rock said earlier that the Chargers defense is ball hungry. They get turnovers and they force them, and he's definitely right.
He's right.
So this is when the Broncos need to be especially very careful with the ball, whether they run it or they throw it. It has to be where it has to go, and they cannot give Justin Herbert an inch because he will take a yard. And the Chargers being at home doesn't make a difference because I already picture there's going to be more orange and blue than Chargers jerseys out there. So it's like a second home game for the Broncos. So I'm really hoping that they use that momentum in terms of getting that win and flying back to Denver 2-1.
Agreed 100%. Take advantage of the mistakes that they're going to give you and force those mistakes. You have to go out there and actually force these mistakes this weekend. Because Herbert's good with Harbaugh. Him and Harbaugh, they're a good duo right now. So you have to go out there and force those mistakes on these guys. And if you can do that, then capitalize. We have to go out there and capitalize, and not just getting 3 points. We need touchdowns. When we take, especially when we're on defense, taking it over, let's get those touchdowns, because that's how we're going to be able to beat this team, because it's going to be a shootout. No matter, like, if it's going to be a shootout, it's going to be a shootout because they're going to be taking advantage of some weak spots that kind of got exposed, but that's where we need to take advantage of it. And, they're still going to get points. You can't stop every team, every play, every drive itself. They're going to get their due, but we just need to make sure that our due is better than theirs.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get an early jump to our next segment. Libre and I have reached the end of regulation, which means it is time for us to go into some overtime.
Let's go.
I'm going to blame Libre on that one because he missed the cue. He was supposed to click the button and he clicked the wrong button.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Broncos Talk Overtime segment of the show. If this is your first time here listening to us, this is where Libre and I let down our figurative hair down, and we talk about anything that's going on in our lives, normally during the off season, although Libre is more than welcome to throw in anything else before we get into the second part. But what we normally do, it takes up most of our time, is Libre and I give our picks for the upcoming week in case anybody likes to put in parlays or they're interested in knowing where Libre and I stand with other games going on during the week. So for the last 2 weeks, I've totaled up the points. Libre currently has 22 points. He's in third place. I'm in second place with 23 points, and the chat leads with 26 points.
Dang, chat. What are you guys doing?
The chat has been right 26 times, Libre.
I think it's they're cheating with chat. What is it called? Chat
GPT.
Yeah, they're using chat whatever it is called, to try to predict these games.
I don't know what it is, but I think I'm gonna have to start asking chat about the parlay hits because I need some money,
right? But
on my trip to Denver.
before we start going with these picks, like
Mm-hmm.
during my tailgate, I guess I'm sponsored by Breckenridge Distillery, and let me tell you, the generosity that they've given me to help give alcohol or give tasters or whatever to the people that attend the tailgate. But let me tell you, the branding of their vodka is crazy. Look at that right there.
Oh, wow.
Like how crazy is that? And then when you turn it into the inside, look at that. When you see the inside, it is dope. Like the branding that they've done for this. So like I had to share that. I was like, like this is just phenomenal just to see the branding of it and how like pretty this freaking bottle is. I
You
can't
gotta
wait to
send me
tap
one of
into.
those, Libre.
You know what? When you come into town, I'll give you one.
Can I put that on the plane?
You might be able to put it in your checked baggage, but not on your carry-on.
Oh, okay. I'll have to Google that because I've never carried alcohol.
I've done it when I came from Mexico.
They're practically giving it away down in
Right?
I will say though, also before we start, that I'm pretty sure I mentioned this, but I got to meet. I met up with Johnny Baki and his cousin Jay at the game, and it was fantastic. Although I will say I was disappointed because he didn't bring Copper with him. So, but I did get to hang out and talk to Barbara, Johnny's wife, while Johnny was doing promotion for the network. And I got to tell you guys, the thing that I love about that man is the fact that he said something to every Broncos fan that walks past us. Like me and you are having a conversation right now. He would just stop and just go bananas and, just amp up the fans. And thankfully, most of the fans were, receptive. They didn't just awkwardly keep on walking by and say, hey, I have pepper spray, leave me alone. So, and a couple of them actually like Johnny's his gimmick and his horns and the paint and the cape and stuff, and he took pictures with him. And the best part about it is that he didn't turn down anybody. All he asked is that they pulled out their cell phone and follow the network. So that was really cool, and each one of those people obliged and they took a picture with him, and it was really awesome to see. Even though me, Jay, and Barbara were not the people that they were interested in, but being able to sit there and experience that with him was just fantastic. And and even my nephew was pretty surprised at how cool Johnny is and how much people love him. And I told him as we were walking to our seats, I'm like, yeah, Johnny is a pretty big deal in Broncos country. So, shout out to Johnny for being awesome. And
heck yeah.
To him and Isaiah for, bringing everything that you guys see here together, bringing us here, and just letting us be a part of their dream, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So thank you guys for all that you do. I know I give Johnny a hard time all the time, but I do that on purpose because I feel somebody has to. That's not Isaiah.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure he appreciates me for it. But the joy in that man's face when he saw me, it was like I was more in awe of seeing him because I see him more as like a celebrity, but it was like the same thing, and it was great. And I couldn't tell you. I haven't met you yet, Bronco Libre, but I'm pretty sure me and you are probably going to be on that same spectrum, And
I don't know. My neck is going to hurt though. I need to make sure I go to the masseuse and all that.
Except I'm probably going to look like the security guy next to you every time somebody comes and wants a picture.
and that's when you come in and say, wait, you need to subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
Come on, subscribe. There's
exactly
a QR code.
Like Johnny
come
did,
and subscribe.
Exactly like Johnny.
Before the picture, subscribe to the network.
Yeah, subscribe to the network. And I hope they're in the chat now. And again, we do apologize, but unfortunately, Nothing Rhymes With had to take yesterday off, but they will be back next week. So if anybody currently watching is any of the people that were there with Johnny and I, please say hello in the chat, or you can message direct DM me and let me know. And just say hello. And, if you have any opinions on what you think of the show or the network or what have you, we're all open ears, and we're happy to hear your thoughts and opinions, and for your support more than anything. So, Libre, Thursday night game, and chat, get ready to make your picks too. We have the Miami Dolphins going on the road against the Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
There
is there even a question in this?
Is it too early to bump games out of prime time?
Yeah, I think in the NFL world right now, yes, there is. But yeah, this game is not even going to be like, I don't even see how it's watchable unless you have Josh Allen as your fantasy quarterback, or me having James Cook as my running back. So that's the only reason why I'll be watching the game tomorrow itself, is because I want to see how many touchdowns James Cook is going to get against this Miami's defense.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I pick Miami to lose this game.
Yeah, I picked Buffalo. That was a nice leeway. I picked Buffalo to win this one, and I'm going to make a prediction that the fire sale for the Dolphins begins Friday. That's going to be my hot take for the day. Going into Sunday games, we have the Falcons going on the road against the 0-2 Carolina Panthers. Now, I will say that the way the Falcons played on Sunday gave Falcon fans hope.
Mm-hmm.
It did ruin my chances of winning because I had Michael Penix starting and he didn't throw a single touchdown.
Ooh.
So that part sucked. But going up against that Vikings defense that really was playing with one of their top players, but their offense did them no favors. And the Falcons should make quick work of the Panthers. So I'm going to say Falcons on that one.
I agree with you as well. The Falcons are going to win this game. And you're going to see Michael Penix Jr. throw for maybe 3 touchdowns this weekend.
Sounds like a parlay.
There you go. Lock it in.
Lock it in. We have the Green Bay Packers going on the road to Cleveland to play the Joe Flacco-led Browns. If there was ever a game for Joe Flacco not to play in, I think it'd be this one. And the Browns defense has been pretty admirable these last 2 weeks, but they haven't run into a team like what the Packers have in Jordan Love. Now, granted, they did get slaughtered by the Ravens, and that was without Derrick Henry. So, but they're pretty much used to getting creamed by the Ravens. What the Packers are bringing, though, the Packers are bringing in a whole different beast. And if that defense has to be out there more than usual because the offense keeps either going 3 and out or giving the ball away, the Browns are in for another rough day at the office, Libre.
Agreed with you 100%. And I'm going to say go Pack, go.
And chat says Green Bay, which makes sense.
Well, so far we're all 3 of us are on the same page.
Yeah, we're all moving together. Next, we have the Texans going on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I will say that Jacksonville has not looked that much impressive with Travis Hunter. I haven't seen a Jacksonville game yet. So, but I did see somebody in my fantasy league drop Travis Hunter today. So that to me tells me that something's wrong in Jacksonville to have dropped a guy like Travis Hunter without giving him the proper amount of time. You know, he is a rookie, so it's going to take time for him to get used to things. The Texans did lose a heartbreaker this past week against the Bucs. They took the Bucs to the limit, and all the Texans needed from their defense was just to stop. But CJ Stroud struggled that entire game, and it took too long for him to get hot and take advantage. I don't think the Texans should have trouble with Jacksonville, and it's a miracle that Jacksonville even won week 1. But But then again, look who they were playing.
True.
But I'm going to say that CJ Stroud probably doesn't have a bounce back game, but it might be a Nick Chubb game. I see Nick Chubb running all over this Jacksonville defense. So I'm going to say Texans.
I'm going to go with Texans, but Nico Collins is going to have a great day.
I don't have Nico Collins. I have Nick Chubb.
I have Nico Collins, so Nico Collins is going to have a great day.
And Chat says Texans over Browns. Rightfully so. All right. Next on the docket, we have the Backup Bowl. I saw that name on social media earlier today, and it had me laughing. The Bengals at 2-0 going on the road against the 1-1 Minnesota Vikings. Sorry. It's Browning versus Carson Wentz. And I honestly don't know who to pick. I'm more of a defensive minded guy. I always pick the team with the better defense. And to me, the Vikings have a much better defense than the Bengals do. And I've never seen Carson Wentz throw the ball in a purple uniform. I would be more confident picking Minnesota if this was week 4 because Jordan Addison's suspension is up after this week, so he'll be back on the field next week. So Minnesota's offense is a whole lot more dangerous when you have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison on the field. But just having JJ out there by himself, he's easily double teamed, and the other players are just not up to what the threat that Addison can be. But then again, the backup for the Bengals threw 2 interceptions, I think, after Burrow went down last week, and they only barely won that game. So I'm gonna go on take a risk, and I'm gonna say the Vikings win this game, Libre.
I'm with you as well. I'm picking the Vikings to win this game because Burrow is that guy, and I think it was just more of that him coming in and having that passion that's right away to be able to pull that game out this last Sunday. But being able to try to actually be the starter and be the main guy, he's going to have a harder time itself because this defense is a lot better as well. So that's why I'm picking the Vikings.
Okay, and chat says Vikings as well.
Stop copying me. I see you, Primo.
Next, we have the Los Angeles Rams going on the road at 2-0 against the Philadelphia Eagles, who are also 2-0. Oh no, I'm sorry, I skipped the game. The Pittsburgh Steelers at 1-1 going on the road against New England. I don't know how I skipped that. Aaron Rodgers went toe-to-toe with the Jets week 1. And last week, what should have been another Aaron Rodgers-led game, I think we all lost that one, Libre.
Yeah.
And they just got embarrassed by Seattle last week. The fact that one guy touched the ball and didn't even bother to go and secure it and just let it go into the end zone, thinking it was going to be a touchback, when instead it was a live ball.
Yeah,
was probably, if that guy's still on the team come Sunday, there's something wrong, bigger issues with the Steelers than let on. But I mean, the Steelers do have a better defense than the Patriots do. But Drake May, from what I heard, did look pretty impressive last week, getting New England their first win of the season. But I still think that even if Aaron Rodgers commits those mistakes, I think that the defense does just enough to get over the Patriots offense, because the Patriots offense is not as good as people make it out to be. So I'm going to say I'm going to give the Steelers another chance, and I'm going to pick them to win that game.
I'm going to pick Steelers.
And the chat says Pittsburgh, because we're all just copying each other. Okay, now it's the Rams versus the Eagles. That's going to be a tough one. I think that the Eagles beating Kansas City last week again in the same calendar year, was a thing of beauty. Now, obviously, it wasn't the beatdown that it was back in January or February, but it was still very nice to see when I saw the highlights back. The Rams, while they do have a good defense, there's something with their offense that's not clicking yet. And I think it's going to take a little bit more time for Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams to kind of get on the same page, because it kind of looks like he's still looking for Cooper Kupp out there, and Cooper Kupp's not out there. Although Puka Nacua has done a really good job. I think he had a pretty good game last week, if I'm not mistaken. but the Eagles are just on another type of world beaters. They're not, their defense is still sus, I will say, but I don't know if it's enough for the Rams to take advantage. The Eagles will have to play really sloppy to lose a game. And this could be the game where they lose it, but I don't think so. So I'm going to go Eagles on this one.
So talking about the biggest injury coming out of the Rams camp, where Sean McVay tore his plantar fasciitis. How is he going to be able to be out there on the field coaching? Will he be in the box or will he be on the sideline for this game? It is going to be a big game, but I am going to pick the Eagles. I just want to throw it out there. Make it interesting.
Yeah. I think he was just celebrating, wasn't he? And he
I think so.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it was weird.
The next game on the docket, the New York Jets at 0-2 going on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that Justin Fields did not clear concussion protocol, so he will not play this Sunday. And I don't even know who the backup for the Jets is. Is it Mike Power? Or is he with Miami?
Yeah, I don't even remember. I would have to look that up. I can't remember who's the backup there with the Jets. Because,
well, I'm just going to pick Tampa Bay because what we saw out of Baker Mayfield Monday night, Baker Reagan Mayfield, ladies and gentlemen, that guy, good Lord.
So I'm going to say Jets, suck. Let's go, Baker.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Baker wins MVP just off of that game alone.
I agree with you. He'll have the best game of his life.
And then the next matchup, the Colts going on the road against the Tennessee Titans. So it's one team that Denver beat and one team that Denver didn't beat. I will say that the fact that Cam Ward and that entire Tennessee offense, he finally got his first touchdown against the Rams, but it almost felt like it was a gimme. It wasn't anything where it looked like Tennessee has figured anything out yet. Their offensive line is pretty beat up, and their defense is going to have their hands full with that offensive line, especially if our defensive guys couldn't get to Daniel Jones on their own. I don't see how the Titans can. Although I will give credit, Jeffrey Simmons is a beast at defensive tackle. He just made a boneheaded mistake week 1. And if he can limit that, then they might have a chance. I don't know. But I'm going to say Colts win this one.
I am going to go with the Titans.
Ooh.
Because it's in Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Titans. They're going to pull it out.
It's their season opener. No, it's not their season opener, is it? No, that was they played at home last week.
So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Titans. They're going to take it out. Cam Ward's going to have a good game against this defense.
All right, so this is where we separate Libre, and you go your way and I go mine, so to speak. And then we have the Las Vegas Raiders at 1-1 against the Washington Commanders at 1-1. This is going to be a pretty interesting game because it is not. We don't know yet if
Jaden
Daniels is going to play. He is injured. I didn't see him getting injured last Thursday, but apparently there must have been something that I missed. But to be honest with you, it really doesn't even kind of matter because the way the Raiders were playing on Monday night, they played terrible. And, I said it a little bit at the beginning of during the show that I feel like I was right about Geno Smith. And I'm going to keep saying that every single day until the end of the season. Geno Smith threw a pick in the very first play of the game. Now, granted, it was a crazy pick because it bounced off the intended defender and it bounced into the hands of another. But either way, a pick is a pick. And it's just crazy how people actually thought that Geno Smith coming to Las Vegas was going to be the answer to everybody's problems when it was everything but the answer to everyone's problems. And it's literally still like, I'm so glad that the Broncos took Bo Nix ahead of the Raiders, because if Bo Nix would have been a Raider, like they were intended to, and the fact that the Raiders didn't want to jump up and get either Bo Nix, or if they wanted to, they could have gotten JJ McCarthy. If their price was right, they could have jumped over both of those teams. But it is just comforting. But I think that the Commanders' defense is going to do just enough, just for the simple fact that Genty is still struggling to try to find, some relevance on that team. Brock Bowers is kind of beat up, and yes, he's still a weapon, but when he's not at 100%, it's really hard to rely on him. And the fact that he's not at 100% and he's putting himself at risk to get seriously injured and miss more time is something, especially with the way this offense is playing. I would much rather let Bowers heal completely than put him out there and do that. So I'm going to say that Washington wins this game.
I agree with you. Washington will win. I feel that this defense that they have is pretty good. Von Miller's on it. So somebody you have to watch out for.
He's a Bronco for life.
Si, senor.
Okay, next we have the Saints going on the road at Seattle.
Seattle.
The Saints have not won the game yet. I will say Sam Darnold's still not looking good, and they got bailed out because of the Steelers were terrible. But the Saints are still going to be the Saints, and they'll probably win a game that nobody expects them to win later on down the season. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they don't win a game at all, just to be the number one pick next year. But I'm going to pick the Seahawks. Libre, you said Seahawks. Chat says
Seahawks as well.
Next, we have the Cowboys at the Chicago Bears. So right now I had D-Rock ask me, how was the feeling here in Chicago when I got back about the Bears losing that much to the Detroit Lions. And I can tell you guys that the vibe the next day, especially at work, where I know some Bears fans, it was not good. It was pretty terrible. And I don't know if this is true, but supposedly there is word that if Caleb Williams has another bad game, especially against the Cowboys, and the Bears lose, that they could bench Caleb Williams and bring in Tyler Badgett to play week 4, which I don't think so, just for the simple fact I don't know, to be honest with you, but it's not good. All the money and the time that Ryan Poles, the GM, spent on quote unquote fixing the offensive line, and it hasn't done jack squat for the team, just kind of goes to show you how it goes, or how it can go, in terms of, I just hope that they fire Ryan Poles. I'm not a Bears fan, but I do not like that man. I think that man coming to the Bears made the team worse, and they'll be better off when they fire him and find a more competent general manager, because everything that man has done has not worked in the Bears' favor. Not getting Caleb Williams, not getting Ben Johnson, not quote unquote fixing the offensive line, as you guys saw, getting your back blown out by your division rival by that much. And it's basically the Lions getting back at Ben Johnson for leaving. I don't care what nobody says. That speaks volumes. And the Cowboys, unfortunately, their defense sucks. No more Micah Parsons, and they let Russell Wilson hang almost 500 yards on them. And it took them going to the wire and Brandon Aubrey's Superman leg to win them the game. But I think that the Bears are worse than the Cowboys, and I think the Cowboys squeak a win. So I'm going to say Cowboys on this one.
I think we're all in the same boat with that. Cowboys is going to win this game. But the high that they're riding after this weekend's game, because I was there at Tom's Watch Bar watching this in particular game, and then the Bronco game starting, and then like it was just crazy on how it ended. And I think that the way that these guys, because the way it ended, they're riding on this high right now, and they are playing a lesser team in Chicago. So Cowboys all the way.
Cowboys. If only Jerry Jones had a Micah Parsons on his team. That's all.
Right? That's all. That's a person he needs to have the great defense.
Yeah, right. Another great linebacker. And then we have, for some reason, oh shoot! You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to take this and move it over to the.
See how you are.
No, that I'm talking about on my sheet. I
Oh,
forgot to take out the blending because we had a double header, and I put it on my the pool sheet that I make every week. That this Monday was a double header, but that was a mistake.
gotcha.
Because I was gonna say we have the Cardinals at 2-0 going on the road against the San Francisco 49ers, and I got to tell you, every power ranking that I've read the last 2 days, nobody is high on Arizona. They think that Kyler Murray is probably going to be out of a job by the end of the year, which would surprise me because he was supposed to be the answer to the Cardinals spending a number 1 pick on Josh Rosen, if you remember that much. But the Niners not starting Purdy is worrisome.
Well, you have to remember when they did get Josh Rosen, that they drafted him the number 1, like their number 1 pick.
Yeah.
And the very next year, they're like, oh, we're gone. We're done with you. And that just speaks volumes of what they saw right away. They're like, yeah, he's a big bust. But I feel like right now, even with CMC out there being able to play, I still feel Arizona is going to win this game.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Arizona too. As long as Kyler Murray gets home for Call of Duty.
It's going to be pushing. As long as they don't go into overtime, he'll be good.
Yeah, he's got to get home and get online and defend the den or whatever.
And look at that. The chat's with us as well. Come on, chat. Stop picking same games. Come on.
Then the Sunday night football game, the barn burner, probably one of the best games of the year in terms of Sunday night football. The 0-2 Kansas City Chiefs going to MetLife to face Russell Wilson and the 0-2 New York Giants. One of these teams is finally going to put a 1 in the win column, Libre. And as much as my brain wants to say that the Chiefs are the better team on paper, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Russell Wilson and the Moonball are going to make the Chiefs go 0-3. So I'm going to say Giants.
So how the song goes, we're waiting all day for a Sunday night where Russell Wilson's going to say, let's ride.
Libre, and I'm guessing chat's going to go Giants too. Waiting for confirmation, the bottom bowl. Yeah.
Yep, there we go.
The Giants all the way around.
G-Men.
G-Men. All right, and then the Monday night game is we have the Detroit Lions at 1-1 going on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I doubt that the Lions put up 50 points on the Ravens, although that defense from the Ravens is looking pretty suspect these last 2
little sus.
So we could see an offensive if that offense shows up anyway to Baltimore, offensive blows from each team. And but I want to say that the Ravens offense is still on paper, unless they have an answer for Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry is going to really be playing like a bat out of hell, especially for the way he played last week.
As long as he can hold on to the ball, that's going to be their key for victory right there for them. But I do feel like this is the week that he does break out, and I do think the Ravens will win this game.
God, I hope so, because I could have used more than 5 points from him last week. And then the chat says Ravens. All right. And
Juan, I don't like the way you picked this games this week. We picked them all the same, except for that one game.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the overtime segment of today's show. Libre and I would like to say thank you to everybody in the chat today. Shai Vargas, Juan Marquez, D-Rock. I saw the boss in here earlier, but he probably left already because Johnny Baki's a very busy man. Fanatic Dak, Dr. Nicholas Manning, thank you guys so much for being here with us. Thank you guys, who's ever still here in the TikTok app. I don't think anybody on my side is here.
I'm at 0. I think I'll talk to you after when we end the show, because I feel like there's something why I'm not getting a lot of viewers on mine right now. But we'll talk logistics.
I don't know why. I get more viewers when I play Animal Crossing, but I think that's just because people, or my viewers anyway, prefer to see me chop down trees and catch scorpions and hear me talk about football for an hour.
All-time record, 30 scorpions. Let's go.
Hey, but like I tell my chat all the time, hit me up in the DMs if you want to see different type of content or if you just want to talk or whatever, you know.
I love seeing your videos, your clips of them too. So
yeah, I caught 3 scorpions yesterday, dude. That was an amazing feeling.
You need a bigger bag now.
I do. I need to buy me a scorpion hat or something on it. I don't know. But before we head on out of here, ladies and gentlemen, just want to ask you for a few things before we do. Please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe, share, comment, and like on this and all the shows here that we have on the Orange and Blue Network. If there's something that Libre and I didn't get to answer for you guys in terms of question or comment you want to make about anything that was said here today, we are more than welcome your comments and opinions. You can leave a comment on the video, and Libre or myself or somebody here on the network will get back to you as quick as we can, I should say. Thank you guys so much for your continued support for us here on the show. For our audio listeners, depending on, it doesn't matter what platform you're listening to us from, if you like to leave a 5-star review, those are very well appreciated. And if you want to screenshot it, you can send it to our socials. They're on the bottom. Our Twitter handles are there. My Twitter handle is at a 6'10" Mexican. Bronco Libre is at Bronco Libre 5280. For any business inquiries, you can email at broncostalk2020@gmail.com. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back this Friday for Viva Los Broncos, the all Spanish-led podcast show. So please tell your Spanish-speaking friends to tune in, or if you like to tune in as well and you have a translator nearby in case you don't understand Spanish, we more than welcome it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Libre and I put in a lot of work and time, sitting here with you guys, and obviously you guys are gonna hear more experiences from Libre because he's a season ticket holder and he goes to all the home games. I don't know when's the next time I'm gonna go to a Bronco game. And from what Libre told me at the beginning of the show when he literally logged in, he's like, "Bro, you and Johnny shouldn't go to any more games just because we're bad luck."
Bad luck. I just said that to you, not to Johnny, but to you.
Well, I was with Johnny, so I'm throwing Johnny's name in there, and he probably won't. He probably won't see this part of the show. So, although if we get a text message like "you mother effers,"
I guarantee he's gonna send us a text in the morning.
I'm waiting for it, dude, because I don't know if Johnny makes it all the way to the end or if he's just saying that and he just caught like a clip because somebody's like, "Hey, did you see what they said about you?" And then he actually goes and looks at it. But ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna head on out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back next week to tell you guys all about what happened in the first division game against the Chargers and what's to expect for week 4 matchup. Have a good night. Have a good day, good evening, whatever it is you're listening to us. And as always, go Broncos!
Go Broncos! Woo! Woo!
Adios.
Broncos talk.